Good morning. Today we are going to talk about biomagnetic monitoring of atmospheric heavy metal pollution using pine needles. The case study of Isfahan, Iran, by Lina Alejandra Villa Torres, Daik Santiago Camargo Mogollón, and Valentina Vargas Arril. Introduction. The atmospheric concentration of heavy metals have remained in constant change this due to different variables which used the metals in the air. For this reason, studies have evaluated dust pollution different methods, such as passive, active, or automatic monitoring. They can also be determined indirectly using biomonitors. In general, these investigations are not very common due to their high cost and their great difficulty, although they have helped to determine that different trees and moves help as bioremediators in the capture of atmospheric particles. Um, this pollution can be seen evidence in Isfahan, Iran, where it's very common to see storms that affect the air quality. So in this research, the main objective is to carry out biomagnetic monitoring using pine needles in Isfahan.
Okay, materials and methods. The study was carried out the city of Isfahan. Is the central part of Iran. The climate of the study area is air with high potential evaporation and therefore is limited vegetation. And this province is covered by industrial units, traffic jams, and small works. Therefore, it is exposed to soil, water, and air pollutions. The pine tree were exampled in 30 different sites of the city. In this story area, 30 sampling sites were selected, including 15 sites with high traffic and 15 sites with low traffic conditions. As samples were there at 60 Celsius and for 48 hours in the laboratory. There were using laboratory mild. Subsequently, packing was done in plastic bags and samples were under laboratory conditions prior to the chemical analysis to avoid across contaminations. The mild was cleaned well following each use. And the pine tree were exampled in 30 different sites of the city. All of them were all 7 and 10 years old. The sampling of the pine needles was performed at the height of 30 centimeters to 1 meter using the steel scissors. And 1 month before the sample, half of each tree was thoroughly washed and with water to remove the deposited dust, while the other half was left unwashed. And the left samples were monthly taken from the washed sides of the tree, and then the samples were divided into subsamples in the laboratory.
The results obtained revealed that needle washing significantly reduced the concentration of contaminants in pine needles collected at all sampling times from all sampling sites. There are 3 factors that can influence the magnetic properties of pine needles, including minerals, magnetic grain size, and density. The rising prior of pine needles to chemical analysis can lead to removal of the atmospheric dust, which is adherent to the leaf surface. The highest, the lowest, and the mean values of iron concentration were 743.5, 0.0, and 80.4 milligrams kilograms raised to the -1. Based on the high correlation between the heavy metals measured in the leaves, pine needles, and atmospheric dust, the pine tree has a high ability to trap atmospheric heavy elements. Conclusions. The indirect biomagnetic technique could be a fast and inexpensive method to estimate heavy metal pollution in this area. Needles of the pine tree were used as an appropriate bioindicator to evaluate air pollution based on heavy metal concentrations and magnetic susceptibility. The results showed the highest and lowest metal concentrations in the heavy traffic sites and the low traffic sites, respectively. And the difference in the heavy metal concentration with regard to increasing industrial and traffic activities in the city could highlight the need for pollution control in the city environment.
Okay, what did we learn? The article shows us the importance of pine needles and how it is possible to reduce them for the reduce air pollution caused by cars.
In addition, the heavy metals are great pollutants not only in the air but also in the soil and on the ground. For this reason, it is important to look for ways to mitigate the environmental impacts that they can bring.